It's finally here, the Ibanez YY10. This is easily the most excited I've been about a new guitar in years. I pre-ordered mine immediately, and it's the first time I've ever pre-ordered a guitar. The YY10 was announced at Winter NAMM 2020 on January 16th. I was actually one of the first people to discover the YY10 on the Ibanez website, even before the announcement that day. I was freaking out. An official release date was not announced, but I believe these guitars were scheduled to ship in March. However, due to the worldwide pandemic and probably other factors, production was delayed until September. They finally started shipping in October and November. In between the YY10's announcement and eventual release, Yvette and her band Covet released the album Technicolor on June 5th. So my intention with this video is to capture this moment in time. It's strange to think about the YY10 becoming a used guitar, but it is inevitable. I'd like to do my part to preserve the context which surrounds this guitar being released and what it means. Maybe someone who doesn't even play guitar right now will find a YY10 at a store in the future and have no idea about its origins. My hope is that they would find this video. Okay, first let's explore the Talman and Yvette's history. Then we'll take a look at the YY10 specs, hear some tones, and compare it to other Talmans. The Ibanez Talman was introduced in 1994. It was part of a strategy Ibanez employed to join the growing retro guitar trend of the early 90s. At that time, a major shift in guitar culture was happening. Virtuoso shredding, neon-painted guitars, big hair, and other tropes associated with the 1980s were no longer considered cool. This sudden change in consumer taste put Ibanez in a tough position. The most popular genres of guitar-based music were increasingly alternative rock and grunge. A large number of people were now looking for vintage guitars similar to the models that their favorite bands were playing. These were primarily the less popular designs of the 1950s and 60s. Hoshino USA, the American branch of Ibanez brand owner Hoshino Gakki, had a bit of a head start on this trend with their Starfield guitars. Starfield was a project started in 1991 by a few of the Hoshino USA employees. It was an early attempt to reach blues, country, and traditional rock players that would have never considered buying an Ibanez. They saw moderate success and built guitars for some high-profile players, including Kurt Cobain. The Starfield project was shut down in '94 to focus efforts on the Ibanez brand. Some elements from the Starfield designs made their way into the Talman. Most notable are the lipstick pickups, 3+3 tuner layout, and less pointy headstock shape. The Talman was a brand new design, and it fit in perfectly with the funky offset aesthetic of the 1960s. At launch, there were two body styles available, the TC and the TV. The TC body shape is a curvy offset design, and it's what most people associate with the Talman name. It's also the design that other Talman-related models, like the acoustic guitars and semi-hollow Art Core series, are based on. The TV body shape is less curvy and features an unusual elongated horn. This design was less popular and it was discontinued after 1995. The Talman series was available through 1998. In those 4 years, there was an amazing number of variations released. This included a wide array of choices for bodywood, fretboard material and radius, neck profile, pickup configuration, color, finish, and other options. Ibanez also introduced the first signature model Talman for Paul Gilbert. The most notable player from the original solid body Talman era was Noodles from The Offspring. He is a major Talman enthusiast, and in 2003 Ibanez debuted his signature model, the NDM1. For the next decade, the Noodles signature model guitars were the only way you could buy a solid body electric Talman brand new. Fast forward to Winter NAMM 2015, Ibanez unveiled the Talman electric basses. A few months later at Summer NAMM, the Talman solid body electric guitars were back. They were introduced as prestige models only. Prestige is the Ibanez designation for top-of-the-line models made in Japan. These reissue Talmans took a departure from the plethora of options that were available in the 90s. The bodies initially only came in alder. You could choose between 2 fretboard materials, a handful of colors, and 3 pickup configurations. The marketing was focused on country, blues, and traditional rock players, the same approach that Starfield had taken in the 90s. Ibanez introduced more affordable standard models. Along with that came some nods to the past, like sparkle finishes and pearloid pickguards. By the end of 2018, the Talman electric guitars were discontinued again. That short 3-year span was a small window of opportunity, but it just so happened to line up perfectly with an up-and-coming player. At an early age, Yvette Young began playing piano and violin. She grew up in the world of competitive classical music and did well. But by the time she was in high school, the stress from that world, combined with the difficulties of growing up as a teenage girl, was just too much. This resulted in Yvette getting sick. She was in and out of the hospital for a few years. It was during this time in the hospital where she first picked up a guitar and taught herself how to play. She has said that this literally saved her life. It empowered her and made her fall in love with music, even rekindling her love for piano and violin. She was doing it for herself for the first time. Yvette went on to study fine arts at UCLA and became an art teacher before she started doing music full-time. The first electric guitar that Yvette owned was an SX brand Tele, or T-style guitar, that had upgraded Bill Lawrence pickups installed. She traded a drum machine with a friend to get this guitar, and she still owns it. You can see her playing it in the Audio Tree live performance from March 2016. Before Yvette became the guitar superstar that she is today, she was like a lot of us. She played in a small band, posted songs and riffs online, and was just having fun. Little did she know that her polyphonic tapping technique, which naturally evolved out of her piano skills, was starting to gain a lot of attention. In 2014, Strandberg Guitars asked Yvette to play one of their guitars for a video, which led to her becoming a Strandberg endorsee. She also released her first solo music project that same year and got together with some friends to start the band Covet. The band's popularity was growing quickly. Every year things were getting bigger and bigger for Yvette and Covet. Ultimately, she had to leave her teaching job. In 2017, an artist rep at Ibanez reached out to Yvette and asked her if they could build her a guitar. They suggested the Tele-style Talman that they had recently released. She had them build her one in a pink sparkle finish, and she took the Bill Lawrence pickups out of the SX Tele and installed them in the Talman. The next year, at Winter NAMM 2018, Yvette needed to borrow a guitar for a demo and was handed a Talman Prestige TM1730M from the Ibanez booth. She instantly fell in love with it, and Ibanez was kind enough to let her keep that guitar. Shortly after NAMM, the Ibanez LA custom shop built 2 Strat-style Talmans for Yvette based on that guitar. She gave them nicknames Flubber and Creamsicle. In mid to late 2019, rumors started to circulate online that a signature model guitar might happen. Yvette hinted at it herself in some interviews. A few months later, it became a reality at Winter NAMM 2020 with the YY10 announcement. This is actually a huge deal. Yvette is the second of only 2 female artists in all of Ibanez history to get a signature model guitar. Nita Strauss was the first in 2018. Now that you know how this guitar came into existence, let's look at its specs. The YY10 is made in Indonesia. Its retail price at the time of its release is $1,099 US. With sales tax, that places it right around $1,200 total. It is currently available in one finish only, named Slime Green Sparkle. It has an alder body and a maple neck. The fretboard is also maple with a radius of 305 millimeters or 12 inches, and it has 6 millimeter black dot markers and 22 medium frets. A first for any Talman, the YY10 has glowing side markers. The nut is made of bone, and it retains the Talman's signature narrow nut width at 41 millimeters. On the reissue style Talman headstock, you'll find Goto MGT locking tuners with staggered heights. Scale length is 25.5 inches. Controls are kept simple with one volume knob, one tone knob, and a 5-way switch. The YY10's secret weapon is the Seymour Duncan 5.2 Strat pickup set, so named for their mixture of Alnico 5 and Alnico 2 magnets. These pickups give you sweet highs and tight lows. They are the exact same model used in the Strat-style Prestige Talmans and Yvette's custom shop guitars. All hardware is a chrome finish. The bridge is a Wilkinson WV6 SB that has a pop-in style tremolo arm and 10.8mm string spacing. The YY10 comes equipped with 11 through 52 D'Addario EXL 116 strings. And these strings come from the factory in one of Yvette's favorite alternate tunings, FACGBE. Here's the measurements for how my guitar came set up straight out of the box. A unique and fun extra that's included with the YY10 is a sticker sheet that Yvette designed. You'll need to grab a pair of scissors or an X-Acto knife to cut out these stickers. I initially thought they were going to be pre-cut or maybe they'd be vinyl underneath a transfer sheet, but the designs are printed directly on one large clear sheet. I feel like Yvette's art teacher persona is at play here, forcing all of us to work on an arts and crafts project. So back at the beginning of the year, Covet was recording the music video for the song Parachute. Yvette posted this picture and it quickly became a meme. This was a few weeks after the YY10 was announced, so I knew about the stickers that came with the guitar, and I thought it would be funny to have a meme sticker to go with them. So I had a few made. I've got 20 of these stickers that I'm going to give away. Oh yeah, I'm also going to give away a YY10. This is a holiday 2020 charity fundraising giveaway. Be sure to follow me on Instagram @TalsGuide so you don't miss it. Before someone asks in the comments, now that we've got that out of the way, let's hear the different pickup positions. I'm plugged straight into a Vox MV50 AC. It's hooked up to a custom 2x12 cabinet with Mototone greenback speakers, and it's mic'd with a Shure SM57. Now let's compare with a J-line Talman and an ash body Prestige Talman. The J-line TM730 is a Japanese market exclusive that was announced and released in September 2020. It is made in Japan at the legendary Fujigen factory and is currently available in 3 colors. As you can guess, I'm obsessed with Talmans, so I imported one of the J-lines here to the US. This guitar has the factory set of 10-gauge D'Addario EXL110 strings on it. The pickups have a more traditional Strat tone. Ibanez lists these simply as Alnico magnets, not specifying what type. This Prestige is a somewhat rare version of the TM1730M. It was made for 1 year only in 2016. Most Talman Prestige models have an alder body, but this one features an ash body with a translucent white blonde finish. This guitar has a set of 9-gauge Ernie Ball Paradigm strings installed. The pickups are the Seymour Duncan 5.2 Strat set that can also be found on the YY10. I'm going to take a wild guess that most of you are very interested in the YY10 neck profile. I was getting the same questions over and over for months about the YY10 neck. I think it can all be traced back to something Yvette said in the Andertons interview in late 2019.
But what really made me fall in love with the Ibanez Talman is the wizard necks that Ibanez has. They're just so thin and flat, and it makes playing technical things way easier. I feel like I fly on these necks.
I believe she was just referring to the general thinness of Ibanez necks compared to other manufacturers, but a lot of people seem to have taken that comment literally, and they thought the YY10 would have an actual Ibanez wizard neck. Well, the YY10 neck is not a wizard profile. It's very similar to the reissue Talman necks. They have a C profile that Ibanez calls Talman Classic Plus. The YY10 neck is slightly different though. The Ibanez website initially listed the neck as U-shape. It was then updated to say YY shape. I don't think anything actually changed. This neck feels chunkier in my hands compared to the Prestige Talman and J-line. The YY10 is heavier than I expected. Mine weighs 8 pounds, 1.9 ounces. The other YY10 currently in my possession was right around the same weight at 8 pounds, 0.7 ounces. I've also heard from a few Ibanez dealers that all of their YY10s were also just over 8 pounds. We can't talk about the YY10 without talking about that sparkle finish. To me, it's more like a glitter sparkle than a true sparkle. This is similar to the standard model Talmans from a few years ago, like this TM302 that came in a blue sparkle finish. Where the YY10 differs is its multicolor sparkle. There are flecks of orange, yellow, and green. It adds a depth that can only be fully appreciated in person. It's a lot closer to Yvette's custom shop guitar flubber than I expected. Early YY10 prototypes appeared to be more green, less yellow, and had less depth to the sparkle, but the production models are awesome. Now, all that said, when you compare it to Yvette's guitar, there is no comparison. Hers is a true chunky sparkle finish with insane depth and glow. It's a custom paint job that easily costs as much as half or 2/3 of a YY10. Some vintage Talmans, like this TC420, came from the factory with chunky sparkle finishes. I hope we see them return someday. There's a lot of other details we could look into, but I'll save that for later. If you'd like to see future comparison videos, let me know, and tell me what aspects of these guitars you'd like to learn more about. I did come across some minor quality control issues, and please note this is very minor stuff. I'm only pointing it out to be thorough. Whoever did the finishing work on my YY10 got a little aggressive with the fret file. On a few of the frets you can see where it dug into the fretboard. The edge of the fretboard was also sanded through the finish. The other YY10, the one that I'm giving away, did not have any of these issues with the fretboard. It did, however, have a chip on one of the plastic pickup covers. This could have happened during shipping or when it was handled by a dealer before I purchased it though. Like I said, these are very minor issues. None of this should be a deal breaker, especially if you're rough with your gear. Your YY10 will be more beat up than this in a few days or weeks. I also don't think you should be scared to beat it up. I mean, Yvette bonked hers with a hammer. Okay, now that we've looked at the YY10 in depth, what are my final thoughts on this guitar? Well, I think it's amazing. I am so happy to see Ibanez bringing the Talman back to life and supporting great artists like Yvette. If I had to choose between buying the YY10 or the J-Line, I'd go for the YY10. First, it's available worldwide, so it's not difficult to acquire. Second, and more importantly, it has all the features of the prestige Talman, plus some extras like the luminescent side dots and Wilkinson tremolo. The build quality is excellent, and it might be hit or miss on some small quality control issues, but I wouldn't worry about that. Just buy one and enjoy it. They really are great guitars. The unique color and sparkle finish is pretty special. It feels modern and fresh, and in a way it also feels like a throwback, like something Ibanez could have offered in the late 90s. If the slime green color is not your thing, you might be in luck. There are already rumors floating around that we could see another model or color released soon. Maybe an orange or pink sparkle, maybe a telly style Talman. I'm excited to see where we go from here. I'd like to close out this video by saying thank you. First, thanks go to you for watching. I love being able to share this stuff, and it means a lot to me when you watch. Thank you to Ibanez for creating the Talman and reissuing it. I'm a fan for life. Thank you to the builders in Indonesia. I have no idea if any of you will ever see this, but the work you're doing matters. It impacts people across the entire world. I know this year was probably very tough for some of you, and we send our love. Finally, thank you, Yvette. You're a constant inspiration for a lot of us.